We obviously aren't acting like royalty that can make the claim to having the genetics that we have and the possibilities and the capabilities of doing what we can do as a race. We're the only ones. They actually consider every single one of us royalty. Now, think about that.
I guess all beings that would try and be spiritual and raise their spirituality in essence would be royal.
Yes, I suppose that's true.
Talk a little bit about the ringleaders then of this whole orchestration that's going here on Earth. According to your Andromedan sources, 22 races originally colonized the Earth, the first race being the Reptilians from Alpha Draconis. What was the nature of their colony?
Well, they're Hyperborean. Basically, they're explorers. And they're also genetic engineers. They would just colonize. They would take samples. They would hang a flag and say, this belongs to us, just like we did with the moon. But we weren't the first ones there. Exactly what we've done. They were explorers. And they would just go to a place. They would see what was there. They would explore it. If there were minerals that they needed, if there were other life forms, organisms, whatever it was that they needed, they took, and then when it was done, they had enough, they moved on and just kept exploring and expanding their realm of exploration or territory.
You said they were dumped here.
Originally they were. They
Right.
were dumped in Alpha Draconis. Nobody knows exactly where they came from, and my understanding is that even in their ancient history, they don't know exactly where they came from. But they were left in Alpha Draconis because that particular system offered them the highest level. And from there, they were able to create craft, space travel. I mean, they're magnificent in what they did, and they're to be commended for what they did. But the fact that they need to control and dominate and manipulate to the degree, sorry, I have a problem with that. And so does half of the galaxy. That's just the way they are. They're the biggest bully. Nobody can beat them up or wipe them out, so therefore they have no motivation to change. So that's the space they hold. And, the Andromedans actually consider them the ultimate warriors, which says a lot, for whatever reasons.
A lot of bullies end up destroying themselves.
Well, that's something that may possibly need to happen, we hope soon, or I hope soon. Because we need to be free. We need to have our shackles that we've been put around us let go of, so that we can really evolve. And we have awesome potential. We really do. We have been, as a race, we have been through so much here. We have so much experiences, and because of our emotions, which is really our strength, which really sets us apart from all the other races out there, even the other human races. We have tremendous capabilities to create things. And, but we need to get clear of what's real and what isn't. We also need to get really clear about being able to create our own future, to create our own reality, and not have somebody say, well, that doesn't work for me, so you're going to have to do this, or play God and ruler over us.
Sense of responsibility is
right.
so important in all of this.
It's with any sense of power, with any knowledge, comes responsibility. That's exactly right. And the divine plan is one of freedom, free expression. Free expression, free expression, expression. It is not one where they want to implant us and they say, you are going to be a worker, you're going to be this, you're going to be that. Sorry, that's not what it's all about. And if anybody tries to force that stuff down your throat, fight it.
Okay, so the Andromedans tell you that the Alpha Draconans are here now. Where?
There are 1,833 of them that have been living underground between 100 and 200 miles beneath the surface. They've been here, some of them have been here a long, long time. They have lifespans that are thousands of years. They're carnivorous. They are not friendly to mankind, at least the ones that are here.
Are you saying carnivorous, they eat humans?
Yes. And they won't eat a dead human. It has to be alive at the time of the killing. Their preference is children. And we've been told, you shouldn't talk about that. There are other people say, well, you better not talk about the reptilians. Well, bull. Why not? According to the Andromedans, they're responsible for 31,712 children disappearing in the last 25 years from the United States. These children were food. And I'm supposed to just shut up and not say anything about it because people don't want to hear it? That's tough. That's tough. Westchester County, in the last 5 years, 3,000 children in the Westchester County, New York, have vanished without a trace. Where are they going? Why are we allowing this to happen? And why should people stay in denial about it?
Now, how are they able to do this? How are they able to? How are they able to? How are they able to do it? How are they able to come up out of this from underground and do it, or do they have?
There are tunneling systems everywhere. They're being helped by the Greys, and also there are groups within the higher echelon that are actually helping them acquire this.
So human beings are abducting the kids and getting them to the Greys, who in turn give them to the Alpha Draconians?
That's right. That's part of the deal. They won't come up as long as we feed them down there. You understand? It's about human beings selling themselves out. The echelon attitude here, the needs of the few outweigh the needs of humanity. And sorry, that just isn't right. But it's going to have to be humanity that's going to rise up and take the stand. You're just going to have to turn off your televisions. They're going to have to get in their car. They're going to have to fire everybody in Washington, D.C. that knows and does nothing. And they're going to have to do something. This apathy's got to end. Otherwise, the way we live is going to end. Period. I mean, that's the bottom line. And I'm not coming from a fear space. I'm really quite angry about the apathy and the fact that, when people give lectures and try to tell us, people want to stand up and fight with them. Look at what's happening around us. The indications are everywhere. Everywhere. The truth is now an obscure thing. The lie is the norm. There's something wrong here. What's wrong with this picture? Sorry, I'm getting crazy.
No, you're not. You're expressing frustration. Why, aside from the carnivorous aspect to the Alpha Draconians, why else are they dangerous to humanity?
Because they don't like us.
And what are they willing to do with humanity?
Eat us. There's no need for us. I mean, look at where we are. Look at us right now as a civilization, as a society. Okay? They don't need anything. They have all this technology that they want. We can't really offer them except maybe do some work for them. But they don't need all of us to work for them. They don't respect human life in any way whatsoever. And this goes back to Lyra, to where the original war started. When they got to Lyra originally, they saw this human race that was plentiful in food, that could grow food, that could do all of these agricultural things. And mankind on a whole is really agricultural. We really, as a race, if we were left alone, would be nurturing the earth. We would be living in tribal communities like the Native American Indians did. That's really our essence, our nature. I'm sorry. That's really our nature, our essence. And the cities and the culture that we're living in now has totally cut us off from the land, from what our real essence is, which is nature. And we're starting to feed off each other now. It's like so bizarre. I can't. It's like when I see the Andromedans, or when I've been exposed to the Pleiadians, when I see how they live and they teach and they live with each other and they respect each other, and I come here. It's like, it reminds me of that sentence that Abraham Lincoln, that quote that Abraham Lincoln once said. If you are above the earth looking down, you could be an atheist. But when I'm on the earth looking up and seeing the heavens, I know there's a God. It's like the duality. And I think enough of us, more of us, really need to start taking the perspective that what we're doing here isn't right. We need to get in touch with what's out there, with just the whole idea that, God, how did we get here? What makes me be here? As opposed to going home after work, turning on TV, watching 3 hours of television, going to bed, getting up the next morning, going to work, and doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, like robots. Throw the televisions away. Just throw them away.
Okay, what are the physical characteristics of the Alpha Draconians? What do they look like?
I don't have that. Maybe it's in the car. They're ugly. I mean, they think we're ugly, too. I guess it's all a matter of perspective and belief system. In my belief system, and I'm only taking responsibility for me, they're ugly. They're anywhere from 7 to 22 feet tall. They can weigh up to 1,800 pounds. They're reptilian. The longer, the ones that have stubby tails, if you see one that has no tail, he's of the warrior class, or the worker class. The longer the tail, the higher their rank. When you see one with long tails, with winged appendages, he's considered royalty. Whenever you see one, you ought to just run like hell. You shouldn't approach it. You shouldn't provoke it. Just get the hell out of its way. Just get out of its way. Just run. There is a way to kill them. If you can't cut off their head, they have two hearts. There's one here, underneath this armpit, and one here. Or if you can't get to that area and you need to slow it down, you need to hit it right above its groin area. It has a very large liver. You need to wound it there to slow it down. It is not something where man-to-man combat you're going to be able to deal with, because they apparently have the strength of 12, 15 men. They're incredibly quick. They're incredibly psychic. They know what you're going to do before you do it. If they get here in mass, we got real problems. Real problems.
What do the Andromedans advise human beings to do if they encounter an Alpha Draconian?
To leave. You leave its space. Get away. To get away.
What if they can't?
Then they can't.
And if they can't?
They'll usually be killed.
And what do they have the Andromedans spoken in any detail about what a human being should do if they are in that position? For karmic purposes, or
look, that's not karmic at all.
Or
a lot of these, all this metaphysical stuff. When you chose to be here, a lot of, in some situations that's true. When you're creating your reality and in your space, but we're being invaded. That's not karma. That's a violation of free will.
If your free will is being violated, Alex, what should you do?
You should ask for help.
Okay.
Ask for help. Put a call up to God. Put a call up to heaven. Put a call to the Andromedans, the Pleiadians, whomever. Just put a call up and deal with it. I don't know. That's just the nature of the beast. They don't like us. We're considered a food source for them. For them. We're a food source for the Greys, but in an entirely different way.
Have they taught us to be carnivorous through the belief systems? Have they taught us to eat meat and eat flesh?
Well, it lowers the body's vibration. It lowers the body's vibration. So if our body vibrated at a higher length, we would spiritually be evolving regardless of what our religions were teaching us. And they can't have that. They can't have us being free. They can't us not being in control, because then we're responsible for ourselves.
So as we move away from eating meat and more towards vegetarianism, we begin to raise our vibrational level and break the cycle.
It helps. Not everybody has to stop eating meat. It's not an absolute requirement. It certainly helps. But some people's belief systems will be that they just need a piece of meat. And for whatever their reasons are, that's fine. If you want to eat meat, that's fine. But you know what? Feed your mind. Feed your mind with spirit, with questions about existence, about what it is we're doing here, why we're here, what the hell is really going on. Why is it that I have all these material things and I'm still miserable in my life?
Well, I know that a lot of people with questions, where are some of the truthful answers? You mentioned one book, The Gods of Eden, that you felt really strongly about. What other sources are there that you feel that we have access to, aside from our inner selves, which is actually the best place to probably begin looking? But are there other starting points that people can use that you know of?
I mentioned Gods of Eden. George Andrews' books, ETs Among Us. There's a lot of information in there that not only deals with the ETs, but also the world political government, which right now is very dangerous for humanity, because it's part of the great plan. It's part of their regressive alien plan to keep us in jail. Okay, do not pass go, but keep us in jail. Oh God, suddenly I draw a blank.
Okay, just as you think about it, interject it into the conversation.
Okay.
You mentioned throw the television out. Are television programs conditioning our youth into accepting these hostile beings, do you think? Or is that just human beings doing anything for a buck?
I don't necessarily